Hello! I've changed angles. That's my news. That's what I've got. Good morning. I woke up furious. Ahoy hoy. I woke up furious. So, let's see what it looks like when I write and edit with rage. Let's see what it looks like when I'm really not happy with you know. Boy, this whole thing. There's a whole world. All right. This is silly. Oh, yeah, if you'd like, Dr. Shatterhand, my process is essentially I write everything freehand. I write everything longhand in my chicken scratch, and that fills up notebook after notebook after notebook after notebook. And these are the ones that I keep on hand. You should see the ones that I keep in the dark. Those are the ones that shall never be mentioned. Oh, rage working is my natural state. Yeah, so the reason that I do that is, one, I like to have the rhythm of my hand moving. So as I'm writing, I'm feeling my actual hand moving. I'm not just typing. And so I find that a lot of the time that's just like a little subconscious thing that allows you to have that same rolling action while you're writing instead of type, stop. Type, stop. Instead, you're literally rolling. Morning! And then the other reason is that makes the editing process, the first editing process, automatic. There's no chance of saying, oh, this is good, or this is not my first draft, or this is like the draft I'm going to base things on. If you have to transpose it from one medium to another, you are instantly going to have to adapt as you go, because you'll be able to see things that weren't there while you're looking down at the page whenever you move it into a different medium. And that's just like an instant, fuck me, I have to do the work. You know? So a lot of my process is removing the options for doing a bad job, or what I think of as a bad job, you know? Like, I'm making it impossible for me to even be lazy while I can try as much as I want, but because I have to move this to here, I have to do that work, or I just don't do it. Yeah, it's another thing. You know, it is, Dr. Shannon, that's a perfect thing, is like that concept of the third space. You can't, it's easier to move from one room to another room and change than it is to try and stay in the same room and be different, just on a physical level. Sorry, I'm texting my wife. We text very loving things to each other every morning. So I'm gonna get to work. I'm just gonna get to work, you know? How does everybody feel about this? I'm thinking about going piano style for the foreseeable future. But that means that I'm going to have to, oh yeah, that's absolutely the case. But that means I'm going to have to try and figure out a new way to monitor the chat, I guess. Oh my God, this is embarrassing. Maybe I can do it from here. Maybe I'll have maybe I need yet another computer. Yep, sure, there it is. Why not? Let's see if it works. Let's see if this works also. Oh, yeah, but I mean, you know, part of building a community is being part of that community. And I think part of being part of a community is listening to people, whether you fucking like it or not. So, we resume. Where are we at? We resume our initial scene. We're back with Rade, Khan, and Trin at Rade's apartment. Shy, boy, I kind of like that. I do have a VR machine. I got it for, I don't know. Oh, no. So I had a credit card. And the way I do things is I never use real money, and then I use points for like the most frivolous shit. So I got a VR machine, and that's how I exercise. I fake box. And you know what? It's not my fault. All right. Okay, I will admit, I did not have a long-term plan, or, to be honest, any type of plan at all. Trin nor Khan needed vocalization of this fact. Regardless of his words, the nervous pacing he indulged told a deeper story. Bullshit. Who talks like that? Told a deeper story. The nervous pacing. The nervous pacing screamed where he would go, where his words were calm. The evidence at hand to understand these things about him. Let's see where we at. Morning. Catch up. They didn't need anything but the evidence at hand to understand these things about to skip the conversation and move on to just what the fuck to do next. Not for the first time, they reflected that this pattern was the source of his return. Good morning. His source of his was. It reflected that this pattern. It reflected on this pattern. With the eye toward explaining the past and attempting to predict. I've already said next in the past. To predict an uncertain. Who talks like that? To predict the future and attempting to predict. No, absolutely. We don't need anything there. You already know. Yes, I do have a longer beard than Dan now. You already know what predict is talking about. You don't need me to be like, oh, we're predicting the future. Obviously, we're predicting the goddamn future. Obviously. Yeah, after Dan shaved his beard for the mustache thing, then he had to reapply shears. So don't worry, it'll take a week to grow back. He's got beard power beyond power. So what do? I run, right? Lincoln's not the edge of the world. There's more terrible disease to send me, right? LA, San Francisco, Eugene. West Coast scares me. So I gotta run, right? You should go to the West Coast. You'll never think to look for you there. Judo. Wait. Really? Absolutely not. Abso-fucking-lutely. Jesus Christ, man. You can't run. You need to turn yourself in. The fuck I do. Turn myself into what? Hilarious. Hilarious joke. Can we harness Dan's beard power to tackle? I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if we could inject a forest with it, and then the rainforest will be back, baby. Short period of time. A bat, so I can fly away. See, that extra part is why it doesn't sound stupid. Bye, Eric. Good luck. Don't worry, this isn't a struggle. This is fury. This is rage being taken out upon the weakness that I find within myself. None shall pass. Why am I so stupid? Why is this microphone in the goddamn way? Who am I? I could do it this way. Jesus Christ. This is what you miss from fucking Bob Ross. This is why you can be quiet and calm with art. Oh, we're gonna paint some fucking trees. Not with writing. With writing, you need to be a goddamn psychopath. Because I will not turn myself into the fucking house. That's for goddamn sure. If that's no italics. That's what. No, not all italics. God damn it. Dialectic. No, not dialect. Dialect. Oh, if that's what you were thinking. If that's what you were thinking. Stop thinking that. We're gonna give that a nice little extra pause. Stop thinking that. He's running out of juice. That's the idea. He's running out of juice. All right. So what are you going to do? Run to the woods? The fucking woods? Mexico? Are you gonna run to Mexico? What is this? A fucking movie? I mean, it's just the principle of it's just wrong. Jesus Christ. What is that Do you want to see what I wrote next? I have no idea what this means. It's just the principle of the. It's just wrong. What does that even mean? The fucking woods? Shut up! Get out. I'm not. Wherever I'm running, wherever I run, it's not back. That's not terrible. Wherever I run, it's not back. Wherever and back are not good complementary words. Wherever I run, it's disgusting. It is not referring back to wherever I run. You don't have a goddamn. Okay, wherever I run. Wherever I go? Wherever I run. Whatever's next, it's not back there. Wherever I run, it's not that direction. Wherever I may roam. Yeah, that sounds good. Wherever I run. When I run, it's not back. Wherever I run, it won't look like that. If I'm running, I'm not going that way. Hey, Shirley. We're going to do voices. Wherever I run. Wherever I run. Let's try this. Who is Rade? Is Rade going to be this cool? Let's see what happens. Run forward. That's the type of thing that someone who thinks they're being cool would say. So I like that. Rade is not actually cool. Oh my god, Jordan. It's like a disease. It's like a goddamn disease. Just too dumb to live. I mean, seriously, look at this. An embarrassment. Rade appeared genuinely shocked. Flabbergasted even at the thought of giving himself up to the cops. Okay, so this is a good sentence. Because it's such a bad sentence. This is a terrible sentence. But this is a great one to explore the contracting, expanding way of kind of editing this kind of thing. So Rade appeared genuinely shocked, flabbergasted even at the thought of giving himself up to the cops. We need to cut out almost all of that. Rade appeared shocked, but he didn't. He didn't appear genuinely shocked. Genuinely is the worst word to use. It means the opposite. Genuinely means disingenuous. So Rade was, but we don't want to use was. We want to use action. We want him to be in the motion of shock. His mouth went wide. He did a thing. Rade did a thing. The process process of giving himself up. Not just the abstract idea of it, but the actual going to the police station, giving fingerprints, being handcuffed despite not having the will to fight back. If I needed handcuffs, I wouldn't be there. But the actual going to the police station, giving fingerprints, being handcuffed despite not having the will to fight back. If handcuffs were needed, because we don't need if handcuffs were needed, if handcuffs were necessary, the situation wouldn't arise. Nah, we can just get rid of that. If he doesn't have the will to fight back, we don't need to worry about that. Despite being handcuffed, despite not having the will to fight, to resist, to break, to resist, despite not having the will to resist. Fingerprints. Resist is good, but the actual going to the police station, giving fingerprints, being handcuffed despite not having the will to resist. Maybe the will to resist is a proper noun, so we want to put that in there as such. The will to resist is a thing. It's not a concept. It is. He doesn't have it in his hands, despite not having the will to resist. All of these actions were unconscionable, unthinkable. And so, to have the thought spoken to him, to have the thought aloud, to have the thought become sound, to have the thought become sound, was a stabbing pain. So see what I'm saying about contracting and then expanding. I took out all of the stuff that I had written, and now I have written something completely different. Contract and expand. So yeah. These actions were unconscionable and unthinkable. So are we reinforcing how intense his emotions toward this is? He's pacing. So do we need two words? Do we need unconscionable and unthinkable? When perhaps we could, instead of using multiple words, we can reinforce that he's not thinking well by using repetition. All of these actions were unconscionable. Unconscionable! And so to have the thought become sound was a stabbing pain. We don't need and so. This is where we get to use our beautiful semicolon. To have thought become sound was a stabbing pain. To have thought become sound, a stabbing pain. Expand and contract. Expand and contract. Not just the process of giving himself. Not just the abstract idea of it. Not just the conversational... The actual... We can just get rid of that. You don't need not just. You haven't assumed anything yet. So with a just, that kind of thing, I'm using... If I use a just, it's because I have to counteract what you're assuming. So not just means I am assuming you're assuming something. And so to counteract that, I have to remind you that what you have assumed is not what it is. So if I say the process of giving himself up, not just the abstract idea of it, is me saying to you, I know you thought it was going to be just the abstract idea of it. Duh. But that's not it. That's not just it. And I don't need to do that to you. I don't need to have that, it's not an insult to you, but it is a way of breaking us from the story and turning us into like a, hold on now, I'm telling you something. This is me, the Jordan, telling you something. I'm not here. I'm telling you the story. So the process of giving himself up, the actual going to the police station, giving fingerprints, being handcuffed despite not having the will to resist, all of these actions were unconscionable. Unconscionable to have thought become sound, a stabbing pain. But I can't use thought because I got rid of it earlier. Can't use it. But the point of what we're trying to say, is that he feels betrayed by his friends for bringing it up, for the idea that they would suggest to him, because that is them saying, like, what you should do is kill yourself. That's the place where he's at. That's what he's trying to communicate. So everything that he's trying to communicate needs to be not forced, but focused underneath, at the very least, on pure survival. This is adrenaline. This is fight or flight, right? Everything and so that's why his words are pretty much, useless here. Turn myself into what? A bat? He's not helping. The conversation is not moving forward because of this fella. For them to be spoken aloud was an unwitting knife. To be spoken aloud oh, well, I forgot to add the beginning part. We can use thought. The thought becomes sound, a stabbing pain, because earlier, Jesus Christ, Jordan, get a hold of yourself. Rade dived inward, imagining Did I forget how to spell imagining? Rade dived inward, imagining the process of giving himself up. The thought becomes sound, a stabbing pain. That makes sense. That makes sense. And that's why I've got it written this way. Is not just if you go through this, what I want you to feel at the end there, because otherwise, you might think, Jordan, this is a terrible sentence that's 800 pages long, which sometimes I might agree with you. But in this case, this is, first off, only 3 examples. So you might as well think of it as Rade dived inward, blank, blank, blank. That kind of thing, despite them being filled with more words to describe more of an accurate kind of image of what's going on. I want you to then feel a certain stabbing pain at the end of this. I want you to feel this kind of reinforced emphasis. So you're going to have to go, ugh, and then that will adjust as the S's hit you with the stabbing pain. So unconscionable, unconscionable. The thought becomes sound, a stabbing pain. Maybe it'll work. Who knows what the future holds? Okay. So we've finished one sentence. Maybe. That might not even survive. So that's the other part. The second editing process, after you go through the transposition, is I might go back to this sentence and just cut the whole fucking thing out with literal scissors. I will scratch it with red pen, and then perhaps I will use scissors to destroy it. Hi, Beyond. Thank you very much for the kind words. Thank you very much. First off, all right, I like a good first off. First off, ooh, right. That's what's going. I gotta shave. That'll help with that. I gotta shave and get a haircut, and then we won't be there as much. So if we're using unconscionable, then we can literally say that he hadn't thought of it. So then we can say the thought had literally never crossed his mind. Well, we've already said that, just in a longer way. So the question is, am I going to say one thing and then say it again short? First off, let's move on. Let's just move on. First off, and now we find a way to give us actual action. God damn. First off, no, this will be a great place to give you a hint as to who's speaking. First off, began. First off, Khan began in a familiar way. An invisible finger wagging. In Rade's face. First off, motherfucker. First off, idiot. Have you seen the actual... and here's the thing. The familiarity breeding contempt as always. Raid interrupted. Slashing. No. Slap. An invisible slap. His hand invisibly slapping the finger away. Raid interrupted. The familiarity breeding contempt as always. Raid interrupted. First off, have you seen the actual numbers? They don't solve that many crimes. You were almost certainly caught on CCTV. Why are we saying CCTV? Because we all watch TV and that's what they call it. They don't call it surveillance cameras, they call it CCTV because we watch British shows. Your picture is on the news. The most wanted list keeps staying the same, right? You pictures on the news keep staying the same, right? We can use a comma there. We'll cut in here and we'll say raid continued contemptibly interrupting, ignoring, contemptibly ignoring comms, protestations. That's stupid. Who talks like that? Continued his contemptible interruption. Continued his contempt interruption. Jesus Christ, Jordan. The most wanted list keeps staying the same, right? If they can't catch the ones they really want, they definitely can't catch me. Now that's the type of thing somebody great says. What a great stupid thing to say. I love it. It has the feel of somebody who's like, and I won. Now I'm gonna. If they can't catch the most wanted list, they can't catch me. It's the most wanted. If they didn't want them, if they're not catching them, they must not want them that bad. That doesn't actually make sense. This is where Khan's lost. So this is the point that you can see. This is my favorite little interaction here. You can see that once Khan has lost focus, he's out. He's got no chance. Now we're in Raid's reality. Raid's kind of just moved on. Yes, it does. Because if you say that doesn't make sense, that's the only response. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. Second, voluntarily giving yourself into the cops is fundamentally un-American. Only loyalists give in to King George. That makes less sense. Wrong. Third, I can never go back. Raid's general flightiness as Khan would describe it. Do we need that? Am I describing it that way? Or is Khan describing it that way? And if Khan is describing it that way, why am I telling you? Does that increase my does that increase anything or contribute to anything? Meant his tone and physical expression often gave the impression that Rade wasn't not paying attention to you, but that he was also paying attention to 6 or 7 other things, half or less of which may or may not be real. Thus, it was extremely disconcerting. Do we need extremely? Disconcerting is a pretty strong word, Jordan. For Rade's full focus to be in your face. Thus, get the fuck out of here, thus. Get out of here! No thus for thee. To receive Rade's full focus was rare and disconcerting. To receive Rade's full focus was rare and disconcerting. Was rare. Yes, we already know that. Okay, so I do need two modifiers there because rare isn't enough for you to understand why you wouldn't just go with, oh, it's rare, meaning automatically that it would be disconcerting or discomforting in some way. You might just go, oh, it's unusual. Whereas in this way, it is uncanny. Uncanny is a better word. Uncanny is a better word because when you mean the word uncanny, you are having a grand time. Like a lighthouse that stopped spinning, a beam of bright, eroding light, a light that burnt away any armor, clothing, anything to reveal the naked. Reveal the naked heart beneath. All right, like a lighthouse stopped spinning. That's stupid. Like a lighthouse. Like a paralyzed lighthouse. Like a stationary lighthouse? I like paralyzed. Like a paralyzed lighthouse, a beam of bright, eroding light. Bright, eroding light. A light that burnt. How many times can we use light in one sentence? A light that burnt away. The light. The light. There's only one light that burns this kind of way. Armor, anything. I like any armor, clothing. And then I'm trying to remove the word and this time to give you an idea that we're not putting and in here. This is like a set of numbers. If that makes sense. You know, this would be like 1, 2, 4, 8, that kind of thing. So armor, clothing, what is an SAT question to everything? Anything to reveal the naked heart beneath. Don't need naked heart. We've already revealed it. To reveal the heart beneath. To reveal heart beneath. To reveal it? That's not what I'm trying to say. We're not revealing it. We're not revealing it. It doesn't need to reveal a heart. Like a paralyzed lighthouse, a beam of bright eroding light. We don't need bright. A beam of eroding light. Because eroding is not what you would generally associate with light. So you know instantly that this is a bigger deal. A beam of eroding light. A light, the light that burns away armor, clothing, everything. To expose the beneath. To expose beneath. To expose within. To expose the within. How does that sound? To expose the within. Within. And we'll put a big capital letter on there. That'll be good contextual. So you know what I'm saying. If I put a big capital letter on there, it's now a proper noun for the within. That way we're not exposing beneath anything. I'm not interested in your feet. I want you to get that we're exposing. Yeah. I don't need to explain it. It's literally what I'm saying. That's the point of writing it, right? For you to understand what I'm saying. If I need to explain it, then it's bad. Like a paralyzed lighthouse. Now, let's experiment with this. How do we feel about this? How do we feel about combining these two and bracketing a paralyzed lighthouse? So to receive Rade's full focus was rare and uncanny. A paralyzed lighthouse, a beam of eroding light, the light that burns away any armor, clothing, everything. Burns away armor, clothing, everything to expose the within. The within. I like thes. We got a lot of thes. We're doing a lot of big proper nouns here. To expose the within. That is Rade's one thing that he can genuinely do in this story. Rade's only real ability is that light. Whether to his detriment. To his detriment, because if you're the type of person who breaks down armor, nobody likes you. I bought armor for a reason. I spent my 40 gold pieces from my new character to get my leather fucking corset or whatever, and you're just gonna fucking blow it away with light? I have wasted a lot of money, and you're a piece of shit. Full focus was brought to bear on Khan's sarcastic recalcitrance. And Khan duly resisted, but was ultimately left bare like everything else the light touched. Ugh. The statement took on a spiritual air as if the 11th commandment was Rade is never going back. That I like. The statement Rade's assertion? No. Oh. Statement took on spiritual significance. Rade spoke it as though he had descended descended a moderate-sized hill, holding the 11th commandment. I will not go back. Not particularly interested in thou. Nice, Eric. I'm all about it. Thanks for reminding me. We're almost at the end of this mix. I like that. Not particular. I will not go back. Perhaps we need something to emphasize that. What if we make it bold? How do you feel about bold? How do you feel about bold? And how do you feel about indentation? Oh, shit. Oh. Somebody's playing a guitar solo right now. I feel good about indentation. Fine. What is this? Is that still bold? What happened? What is going on? Oh no. Oh my god. Fine. Jesus Christ, George. Never mind. All of the fun things that I was saying are done. I am an idiot. Fine. You're not going to turn yourself in. You're not Khan is a real sarcastic asshole, but he's a good guy. Thank you. If you're, you know what? That's a perfect name for what you said. A philosopher stun. Yeah. You should absolutely love bold with middle indentation. That's in character, baby. I love it. You're not going to get caught. Where exactly are you going to go? Man, he is being a real asshole today. Are you going to go? I like that. I like that I live in that space too. Oh, man. Khan, you're being a real dick today. I was the one who wrote it. And is he going to let it go? No! 4th! I'm not going anywhere. Oh, shit. Where this voice came from. Not even Rade knew. In his mind, running was the best and only option. What his voice said betrayed something within that he was up until now unaware of. That he had up until now never met, that he has not met before, that he was introduced to today, that introduced itself only now. What his voice betrayed, something within that introduced itself only now. Something within introducing itself. Introducing itself. Displaying. Good morning, gal! It's introducing itself No. Revealing itself. No. Announcing itself. What is the thing with the balls? The debutantes. Announcing itself like a debutante. Ooh, that sounds good. I like that. In his mind, running was the best and only option. What his voice betrayed, something within, announcing itself like a debutante. Yeah! Something within, announcing itself like a debutante. Because that's what you debut want, baby. What if this was the rest of the stream? Good job, guys. We're done. The thing with the balls, I do accept that maybe debutante isn't the first thought you might have. That does track. Now that looking back, I can see that there might be a different way to go. Trin and Khan. We're taken aback. Were silenced? They weren't silenced. They viewed, no, they were awed. They were cowed. They weren't cowed. They're not the type of people who get cowed. Ugh. Also, that word sucks. Gal, money, what we're going to find is King Robes. How about we put it better this way? All right. So, money is shares. King Robes has all the stuff, and money represents your closeness or distance from the amount of stuff King Robes has. Bye, Dr. Shatterhand. Yeah, that's fair. Juggler also makes sense. Trin and Khan. Trin and Khan are react. Trin and Khan took this in stride. Maybe they didn't even notice. Maybe he's the only person who didn't know, who doesn't expect this from him. So to him, this is a different form of crazy. This is a different voice to him. But if you're not him, it's just the regular kind of crazy, or it looks the same as the regular kind of crazy. Yeah, regular. As the behavior that they consistently understand. So, Trin and Khan didn't notice. Ooh, that's dark. That's dark. Now he's gonna run out of energy. Now Rade, that voice scared Rade. Still. This is a point where when I say still, that's another point where I'm talking to you. When I say still, comma, Rade felt it. Rade felt the difference. Rade knew something had changed within him. Rade was aware that no longer he was, you know? So that would be me saying to you, if I said still, then I'm looking at you saying, you wouldn't get that. Now the question is, do I need to tell you that at all? Does it help you understand Rade? Does it give you anything that you don't already have? Can I trust you? Can I trust you to understand that the words within this little 2-sentence paragraph are speaking to each other? Trin and Khan not noticing what his voice betrayed is a betrayal. Otherwise, we could just say, Rade's voice blankety blank. This was a different voice. This was a new voice. This was something else. But that's not what it is. This is a betrayal voice. This is something that no one's supposed to see. And for it not to be noticed, Gal, that's not terrible. But I mean, there is a part of this entire, actually maybe everything I've written, that is a pure act of trusting the reader. Which is why I think a lot of reviews make perfect sense to me, where they're like, I don't know what he was talking about. Like, yeah, no, that tracks. That does track. Or thinking that it's not finished, I find that but some of the responses to the first book, The Quiet Part Loud, were very much like, I hope he finishes it, or that kind of thing. Like that it's not that what was presented wasn't done, but that the story itself wasn't finished. And I feel like whenever I go through those, what I'm actually reading is like, why didn't you explain it? Why wasn't there more exact? Why wasn't it exact? Why don't you give me more details? And I think that's a fair, like for all my Loud being a dickishness, I have no problem with people who want details. Like, enjoy. It's your style. In the same way that, like, oh, it's fun for me to be like, oh, this music sucks, but enjoy it. I don't give a shit. It's all for you. I'm just having fun. But in the same way, to me, the thing that has to progress in fiction, going from, where it started to where it is now, going through all the critical theory, and then catching up to present day fiction and reading that, and seeing how it bends towards homogeneity. In order to move it forward, I have to trust you. And maybe not you, If I'm moving it forward, maybe I have to trust that maybe people will find it later, Maybe they won't. Maybe this is actually just bad and I'm delusional, which is also fine. What are we going to do? I'm just going to die eventually. So it's fine. While I'm here, though, it does feel like the appropriate thing to do is take the lessons that have been taught and move the process forward. Get something new going. Because how do you write fiction in a world of movies? People write movies, just long form. So the way to write fiction is to allow you to make the movie. I'm giving you this story, and I'm giving you the images that I want you to see. Like we're in a kaleidoscope. Like if I was going to describe the way I want you to feel reading one of my books, is I want you to feel almost like you're in the middle of a tesseract. And every time you look, you see a square of a different thing, like a different world. And as you look around, you're spinning. And when you're done, you realize that you have been inside the complete story. And you have, in fact, made a movie out of all of these images and scenes. As opposed to me giving you a movie. Or, going back even further, giving you a detailed portrait of exact events. Or a detailed portrait of exact people as a way of communicating. You know, like whenever you have Salinger describing what's in Franny and Zoe's mom's pockets. You know, he's not talking about her. He's talking about us all, or whatever. But for you, for us all now, what you're going to wind up doing is skipping over it. You don't care. You're just going to register that is what he was doing. You're in the future. You're now in the present day, you know? You register that is the thing he was doing at that time. And then you just kind of bloop. That's a waste of your time because you're watching a movie. If you're watching a movie and the camera takes you into a pocket and then just zeroes in on each individual thing for like 5 minutes, you're going to be like, this is a shitty movie. So I want to put you inside the movie and have you make it. Because I am lazy. I'm just lazy. Really, that's what's going on here. I don't want to do all that work. So, are the words talking to each other? To begin. Actually, you know what? Let's start from the beginning. Let's scrap this whole thing. Let's go all the way up to the top. All right. Well, I think I am going somewhere. Somewhere. In that sense. But in another sense. In a larger sense, I am metaphysically not going anywhere. They're going anywhere. Okay. All right. So maybe the new voice has drained his energy. Is the self-awareness, is the discovery of it what pops his balloon of energy? Let's go, Tokyo! Oh, what a good girl. Gal, that's what's happening. That's what I'm doing. I'm creating this. That's what's going to keep us all safe. Think about it this way, all right? Imagine a community that doesn't have to worry about outside of the community. That's all we're doing. Oh, outside of the community. Can't do it. They're doing their own thing. We have to do our thing. It's very simple. Trin and Khan didn't notice. Where this voice came from, not even Rade knew. In his mind, running was the best and only option. In his mind? In his mind? In whose mind? In the mind? In the popular mind? In the popular mind, that's not the case. In the popular mind, turning yourself in and trying to win in the legal system is the popular mind. In his law and order addled brain, in his TV mind, Okay, let's talk about the TV mind. Okay. Okay, imagine this. Imagine the TV mind. How do we... Because I do like the TV mind. The TV mind is the cops are going to get in their car and the lights are going to come on and they're going to, we got to get them, you know, or they're going to be in the abandoned warehouse with the guns up. Put it down. We have to make a complicated moral choice. That kind of thing. In reality, they're probably not looking. They probably don't care. Because in reality, there's just a budget, you know? There's just a budget. It is what it is. So the question is, does he believe he's high budget? Yes. Because, yeah, okay. All right. He does. He is. So in his TV mind, running was the best and only option. Yeah. His TV mind. Like, what I'd like is cable TV, but that's too much. That's bad. But it's clearer, but it's badder. Because it does take a little bit of work to get to TV mind in your head, you know? It takes a little bit of context that maybe you don't really have if your only other... I like HBO mind. Oh, that's good. Be more specific. That is excellent. That is excellent. Because now we can go back to the universal is in the specific. In his Sopranos mind, in his Barksdale mind. There we go. In his Barksdale mind. Gal, you've done good. You now get an official writer's credit on this book that will be free. They're going anywhere. All right, so where this voice came from, not even Rade knew. In his Barksdale mind, where his voice betrayed. And now we get to reality puncturing the balloon. Practicality's demands punctured Rade's energetic balloon. Practicality's demands, we don't need a comma there. Practicalities demands punctured Rade's energetic balloon. Balloon of energy? Nah. Punctured Rade's aura. No. Punctured Rade's. Punctured Rade's tires. Practicalities demands drained the drained the glandular momentum. What? Drained the glandular momentum. Jesus Christ, Jordan. Jesus Christ. Drained the glandular momentum. God damn it. All right, Gal, you can finish this. This is all you from here on out. Practicalities demands drained the glandular momentum. Fucking hell. I might need to take a walk away from that. Okay. Ugh, drained him. Now, okay, I don't know if this is, I like to get a little fancy. See how I shortened fancy? That's how fancy I am. Practicalist demands drained him of energy. We can just, listen, that's called, living another day. Discretion is the better part of getting rid of that fucking sentence. Oh, man. And then, suddenly, it returned fivefold. Fivefold in the 21st goddamn fivefold. Ben Folds, fuck you. It returned tenfold. Oh my god. And then suddenly the voice brought with it returned and brought with it the fire. Prometheus is fire. Good fucking Christ. Cram Prometheus down your throat. Suddenly the voice returned and brought with it waves of the energy, the rage, the energy. Brought with it Not bad. Not bad, gal. And then suddenly the voice returned and brought with it waves of unwelcome fire. Waves of unwelcome. Waves of unwelcome flame. Waves of unwelcome fire. Waves of unwelcome heat. Unwelcome waves. But unwelcome waves brought with it unwelcome waves of... The voice returned and brought with it unwelcome. Ugh. See what I'm saying? I'm genuinely gonna have to. Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom and get some more water real quick. I will be right back. I'm not going anywhere. Give me like 5 minutes. Jesus Christ. I need to. That sentence was so bad. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be back. I apologize. All right, I'm back. Woo. All right, we had a little walkabout. Went to the bathroom. We're okay. The voice returned and brought with it unwelcome waves of emotion. Across the spectrum. With no clear lead. Waves of emotion with no clear leader. Brought with it waves of emotion with no one at the head. With no one leader at the head. No. Unwelcome waves of... Yeah, we'll be fine with unwelcome waves of emotion. You get it. I'm going to burn them all down. Khan's eyes went wide. This was still morning. There still further. Still further. Still further. When Tran... What's Tran up to? Tran, what are you up to? Oh no, I ripped a page. Tran, what are you up to? Conflicting emotions isn't bad. I like that. The only problem is they're not conflicting. They're not in conflict with each other. It's just that there's an unending amount of them hitting him, crashing, unwelcome waves of crashing emotion. Crashing foam. Unwelcome foamy waves. That's not bad. I like that. Vicious emotion is what I'm looking for. Vicious emotion. Something that, yes, that's the word that gives you the feeling that I'm going for. Emotion that is vicious towards you. The idea of your emotions being at odds with you yourself. Unwelcome waves of vicious emotion. The type that you hate. Ah, that makes sense. I get that. That makes sense, Gal. Yeah. Turned and said, let's do it. Talking about? Someone has to. He started it. Let's keep it going till it's done. What else do we have? This was still morning. Trin turned and said in their specific familial tone, the type they created to speak only to each other. The kind that left any observers with the distinct impression that they had become shadow. That way, you know that Trin's not just saying, oh. There you go. Let's get ready. Oh. What else do we have? Now it was Trin's turn to illuminate the within. That's called a callback. Callback. The within, to within, the within. We're always going to be the trans twin, not trans twin, trans family killers. That label stuck years ago, and there is no escaping the brand. There's no escaping that brand. That societal brand? No, that brand. I like that. I like brand because if you want to interpret that as being their, a branding, that's fine. But I would also accept if you interpret it as like their brand. Their brand is that's who they are. We're never going to just work at an office. Just work at an office. We're never going to be regular folk who can do regular folk things. We are who we are. And that Morning, Matt. We are who we are. Not they decide. Now we have to live that. All right. We know that. We said that. Now we have to live that. If they are going to fear us anyways, if they're going to fear us no matter what, then we will become feared. All right. Okay. Jesus Christ. Trin. Good response. Good response, Con. Good work. Con was so used to being the emotional voice. Being the emotional, the direct, the Con was so used to being the spokesperson, being the voice of the pair. The sound. The voice of risk and action. Instinctively, they responded with resistance. Instinctively, they resisted. Instinctively, they resisted. Why? Because it was their pattern. It was their pattern to conflict. Despite their deep agreement. It's their pattern to conflict despite their deep agreement. Yeah, I like that. Now, these Rade gonna be cool? Absolutely not. Rade sensed total victory at the edge. Total victory. Rade sensed total victory brush against his fingertips. He reached out with everything he had left. When he grasped it, attempting to pull it towards him, he was dragged away at high speed, like holding a rope. Like holding a rope attached to unfettered sled dog. Suddenly excited, free. When he's dragged away, he was ripped away, he was torn away at high speed, as if he was holding. As if he held a rope attached to boisterous sled dogs. Attached to... Boisterous is not the word I'm looking for. Matt, you missed one of the truly worst things I've ever written. It required me to take a break. I literally had to stop and go into another room because I had written a sentence so bad. Others can describe it for you. It will go down in, I assume, legend. I imagine that if there's ever an oral history of my life, some of you will have a chance to be like, he wrote the worst sentence any human being has ever written. That's true. I bet there's a version of I bet there's a saved version of this doc. You can go back and get in there, and you'll find the worst sentence ever written. As if he held a rope. As if he dangled. She's torn away at high speed. A noose dragging him from horseback. To Topeka. That's right. And that is where this chapter ends. I'm okay. I'm all right. All right. Let's take a look at what we've done today. Oh my God. Folks, we have not written much. But you know what? That's life. That is life. That is bad failure life. What you gonna do? All right. Here we go. Now we're gonna catch up to Tamika and Molly. Tamika is great. Tamika, I imagine, as a modern kind of disaffected Audre Lorde who's figured it out and is like realized what's going on. So she's spite fucking the richest white lady that she knows. And Molly is spite fucking her at her dad. So they've got a perfect, miserable, like, toxic relationship going on. But it works for the two of them, and there's no friction because, like, you know, who cares? It's great. It would poison both of them if either of them were genuine in what they were doing. But because they're both dishonest, there's a certain balance there. Tamika smoked. French inhales, punctuating her points. It's bad for the cause. The media will say everyone who's anti-institution is a violent terrorist. They are discussing the actions. Tamika, of course, is supposed to be a revolutionary who's all about, taking down the system. But in her estimation, this is not going to advance the cause of taking down the institution. It's just something that a selfish, self-absorbed, megalomaniacal white guy might do if he thinks he's trying to be a hero. Didn't smoke. Hated smoking. Hated smoke. But Tamika was cool. Smoking was cool. And her dad hated smoking. So Molly, all of which is to say, and her dad hated smoking. Hated it! But Tamika was cool, smoking was cool, and her dad hated smoking. So, all of which is to say that Tamika was fucking sexy. That Molly was in, all of which is to say, do I need that? I can just say Molly was incredibly turned on by her. We've connected those two. We don't need to add any more adjectives or adverbs. By connecting those two sentences, you should know those two things are absolutely related. Molly was incredibly turned on by her. See? We don't even need to have any more details. You can fill in that movie part. That's what I'm trying to say. Whenever I say I'm giving you the movie to fill in, you have this information. Now you can fill in your own concept of like, what does it mean for her to be visually watching this? So, oh shit. Here's some news for you. My wife is doing the standardized testing for the kids in her school, and apparently all the tests stopped working, so now they're just sitting in the gym. Crazy. So, what do you mean, so? We're not all violent terrorists. This gives them an excuse to lie about us. And don't get me wrong. Like, look at where we live. I'm no revolutionary or whatever. So this is part of that dialogue that I both am weirdly committed to, and I think is my number one greatest failing. This is Molly, And I know it's Molly. The reason that I know it's Molly is because of the rhythm of her speech. She has got about 4 to 6 syllables in her before she has an or a break of some sort, right? Tamika has very specific word choices, while at the same time being all cool and fucking hot. She has got that tone of an unlistened to Black Panther in a room full of dudes. But the media already says, you know, that shit. But the media already says, no revolutionary or whatever. But the media already says, you know, that shit. That shit. That shit. That shit. Not legitimate media. This is an argument that they've had plenty of times before. So both of them kind of know what's going on. What media is legitimate. Right? Yeah. So it's that kind of conversation. Tamika was experiencing a terrible mix of unending frustration with being contradicted by an entitled white girl alongside the bottomless empathy needed to educate her without strangling her. Tamika was experiencing the terrible mix of unending frustration with being contradicted by an entitled white girl, alongside the bottomless empathy needed to educate her without violence, without strangling her, without lighting her on fire, without blood. That's where we're going. Without blood. You don't need any further description if you just hear, there will be blood. This was a common feeling. But unusual with Molly. That was the point of their relationship. It was hot and stupid and dangerous for her to be fucking the daughter of King Robes. Education is none of those things. Unless you're doing it right. Explaining shit was not why she was lounging on the couch. Explaining shit was not why she lounged on Molly's, and therefore King Rose's $100,000. I kind of want to say sit upon. Explaining shit was not why she was lounged on this $100,000 sit upon. $100,000 sofa. And why not reinforce the absurd in the shape of Ariel? As Little Mermaid. Because life is good. Life is good whenever you are doing shit like that. That's called having fun. And you should always be having fun. That's my happy little trees. Always put it in. If you're going to have a sofa, put it in the shape of something from Disney. You know what I'm talking about. You know the difference between foxes and frenzies. No, I honestly don't. No, I fucking don't. No, I fucking don't. No, I seriously don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. Do I? That's the type of shit that you would say if you were being a dick. Do I? Ugh. My dad planted a story in Wapo last week. That's not the point. You cannot make generational change. The majority of the country views us as terrorists. Like Tam. I already do. Again, what a tone. Like Tam, they already do. And Tamika fucking hated that nickname. Her name wasn't fucking Tammy. Now that I can tell you because that's going to inform the tone of the rest of what she's saying without me having to like, Tamika was angry. I give you this detail because now you can then hear the rest of what she's about to say the way that you're supposed to. If I don't give you this detail and instead I have to be like, Tamika was angry, then you don't intuit exactly the anger. This is a very specific type of anger that you totally understand. Mal, see? I like it when past me catches up to present me and tells, yeah, keep going, buddy. Keep going. About this. Do not call me that. No, she doesn't need to do it like that. We've talked about this. I'm Tamika. I'm Tamika. I am not Tam. I am Tamika. I love my name. My name is who I am. It represents my past, my present. It represents my family. And for you to call me Tam is fucking bullshit. For you to call me Tam, and this is what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to put all of that into just this word. The way that I am emphasizing Tamika is me trying to tell you that the next part of what she's saying, she's not saying. But you know what she's saying. because what she wants to do is go off. She wants to be like, Ma, we've talked about this. I'm Tamika. And then that's where we get into the 1619 project. You know, that's where we start there. But if you go back to the characterization from this earlier argument, she's the one trying hard not to be that person who starts the war, you know? So she's trapped in this space where she's trying to navigate what she believes is right versus what she believes is right in the situation. And I'm trying to do all of that. I'm trying to explain all of that to you by putting that italics on Mika. That's what I'm doing. So if you think that I don't trust the reader, too late. Too late. Right. I'm sorry. She's not sorry. Molly's the rich girl. Molly's the rich girl who says I'm sorry but doesn't even know what sorry really means. My therapist and I are working through this whole thing. That whole thing. I don't want to spend all the time talking about me or whatever, especially not about my dad, because it always, in case you were wondering, Molly's going to make it about her, because it always feels like I'm talking about my dad. You know? And the reason that it feels like that is because you are. This is what Tamika was here for. She turned her brain off completely. Molly was her love island. A trash reality show, but where the nudity isn't blurred. But the nudity wasn't blurred. Wasn't censored? The nudity wasn't censored. Yeah, that'll be better. With the nudity uncensored. Huh. Molly's gonna turn around. You might like Molly by the end. Molly's my entrance into the idea of doing something over believing in something. Molly's who she is, and really what she's doing is rebelling against her dad and yada yada yada. But by following and doing the things that Molly is asked to do from people who, you know, aren't psychopathic, rich, evil people, she becomes the person that she's doing, you know? So she's one of the characters who grows and changes. Like my dad read it in the 50s, but that if you want, like in the 50s book, that if you want power over someone, the name they hate. Oh, shit. See, that's what. Oh man, I don't even remember her being this self-aware. Fuck me. But like she says, all those books were written by defensive as white men, afraid of talking to anyone with bigger balls, with no or bigger balls. I like that. That I like. No or bigger balls. You can intuit from that what you will. Says it is a power thing. It's like the worst learned behavior. You're a rich cunt. I get it. Guess that's probably the short version. Yeah. I'm just saying, say it with me. It's not my fault. Tamika, in case you were wondering, had heard it's not my fault. Plenty. Enough. I like that. Silk the Shocker. Yeah, Matt, I swear to you, I did not believe there was an ER at the end of that. For the longest time of my life, I was like, oh, it's Silk the Shaka. He spells it with 2 Ks. I don't know why. I've never seen an album cover with it spelled like that. Just in my head, it's like that's the appropriate way to spell shocker if you are a professional hip-hop artist. She couldn't resist leaving Love Island. No, that's cheap. That's cheap. That may be true, Matt. That may be true. She couldn't resist. She couldn't resist. Never is. That's the point. Get it? This pale white boy gets to burn buildings to the ground, and it will be our fault. He'll say some fucking hero shit, and then 50 of my family will be shot dead in the streets by people who look and sound like him. It's the system's fault, he says. Not mine. It's not my fault. I'm just doing what I think is right. Fuck off with that shit. I was apologizing for using the wrong name. My family, 50 of my family. So this pale white boy gets to burn buildings to the ground, and it will be our fault. It will be our fault. He'll say some fucking hero shit, and then 50 of my family will be shot dead in the streets by people who look and sound like him. It's the system's fault, he says, not mine. It's not my fault. I'm just doing what I think is right. Fuck off with that shit. No, you weren't. You were telling me why it's okay for you to call me Tam. Fuck this. Why it's okay for you to call me Tam. Fuck this. God damn it. She wasn't angry. It wasn't fury that stood her up and walked her out the door. It was exhaustion. She was tired. She had heard, "It's not my fault." Enough. Not to be confused with Shaggy's. It wasn't me. Molly, of course, thought Tamika was storming off again. Then she thought, this is why we fuck first. Then she took her fall asleep cocktail. And did just that. How about that? How about that, folks? We barely even edited this chunk. I mean, except for having written several of the worst sentences of all time. But also, this is fairly easy. This is more conversational, and this is just a conversation that you can be familiar with. So it's really not much that's going to be like, oh, you need to get this right. If you have the ear for how people talk, this should work. It's hot and stupid and dangerous for her to be fucking the daughter of King Robes. Education is none of those things. I like that. There's a lot of good in here. Explaining shit was not. Why did I italicize was not why she lounged on Molly's and therefore King Robes' $100,000 sofa in the shape of Ariel from Disney's The Little Mermaid. Yeah. That sentence is all about ownership. The Foxes and Friendses. Yeah. Between Foxes and Friendses. Do I? My dad played those over. Tamika fucking hated that nickname. Her name wasn't Tammy. Alright. Alright. Good. Alright. So when I say I'm putting you in that kind of tesseract, you know, which maybe is an annoying way of describing it. But while you're inside this story, I have you, if we go back to what we did the last time, all right, I have you going from Rade's house to the siblings' minds, to the desk, to the past, to Molly, to Molly's house, back to Rade, back to Molly. And these things all rhyme with each other. So every little bit of one of them, when you're turning and looking at the next one, you can see where this one was, if that makes sense. So while you're inside this story, I want you to be reading this, 300, 400 words. You read this 300, 400 words, you get an image played out in front of you. Then we cut. There's a slice. You find yourself having to adjust because it's not in front of you anymore. So you are turning to the right. Now you're seeing this different thing. You're still facing forward, though, and this still exists. It hasn't stopped. We're just moving from one to the other. And that way, I'm creating motion from place to place without having to go, and then they walked over to this place. I'm just cutting out travel. I hate travel. I hate being like, oh, these people got in the car. Fuck that. Fuck the car. Fuck getting in the car and driving somewhere. How did they get there? That's not the question you should ask. The question you should ask is, what are they doing when they're there? How they get there can just shove it up its ass. I don't care. I don't care. Okay. All right. That's not bad for a day. Let's take a look. What's our word count at today? Where are we at? Let's see our progress. 4,100. That's not bad. You know what that is? That's a tenth of the way to a book. Oh, shit. I thought it was going to be... I thought I had written a lot less here. Uh-oh. This might be a longer book than I want it to be. We'll see what happens. We can cut it down. I think I'm going to let that be the one that we do today. I've been doing this in the mornings because that's just kind of how I've been feeling lately. If people don't like that, I can probably adjust it to later on in the early afternoon, maybe. Depends on what people like. Depends on what people want. I'm writing this. If you want to send me something and then we can all go over it together, send it to my email address, JHOLME blah. I'll type it in the chat. Whatever. Yeah, everybody, have a great day and be safe.